Hello out there, my friends. It is I, Hondo Onaka. Now you know what to do. You must tune in to my favorite podcast, the Fiveish Fangirls. Otherwise, there could be consequences.
It's Hatches as we continue all the way to episode 415 of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. And usually this is where I throw in a quote, but instead I thought I'd ask you all a question. Do you know what Moff Gideon's favorite ABBA song is?
Oh,
Super Trooper! Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. So like join us. Let's start off like doing with virtual table and see who's joined us. This is the stuff that comes into my head when I'm in the shower.
Anyway, this is Brittany in Belvedere. This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel losing her mind. You go to the gym, you get a nice workout in, and then you're in the shower getting cleaned up, and you gotta it's just you and the water and the soap and the stuff, and
you get all your best ideas in the shower.
Yes,
and by the
exactly.
time you get where you can write them down, you've forgotten.
Exactly. In this case, I totally remembered without having to write it down. So
good. I want someone to invent a shower notepad that for things like that. I know.
I'm pretty sure that's just. I'm pretty sure that's just Alexa and Siri.
I guess so.
Be like, hey Alexa, write this.
I'm more a tactile person.
Yeah, I do like writing stuff down. So news, not a whole lot of news. Some good news though, which is always a good thing. So, as crazy it is that we're going to be starting the month of May next week, on May the 4th, which is officially Star Wars Day. As Mark Hamill, I think, succinctly put it in his tweet, overdue but still well-deserved, Carrie Fisher is finally getting her star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Yay!
On May the 4th. Yes. So, and her daughter, Billy, will be there accepting it on her behalf. And who knows who else may show up.
Well, I hope Gary's there.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully Gary is also there. But this will be the 2,754th star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in the category of motion pictures.
Sweet.
So that's pretty cool. Oh, and then Disney, I think, made a lot of people happy by announcing that as of we're recording this, all of the Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland Spider-Mans are on Disney Plus.
Yoo-hoo!
Not Into the Spider-Verse, though. Sony is holding on to that.
That's okay.
With a death grip.
They're still working on the whole.
Yeah.
The whole. There's a sequel to that one coming out. So
yes,
I imagine they are. So yeah. This past week, Jared and I. Well, it was his birthday, so we took off part of the week and went and saw the D&D movie and went and saw Mario again, and oh my gosh, trailers. All that one.
Yep.
So, Chrissy, you team Owlbear?
Yeah.
I am totally team Owlbear.
Yeah. I haven't seen it yet, so.
Oh, okay.
You'll catch the reference when you do.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's an owl bear in it because it's in the trailers. So, and I should amend my statement. The Tom Holland Spider-Mans are not on Disney Plus yet. So, again, Sony holding on for dear life. Yes. TBD. Yes, but Doctor Strange in the Multiverse, is in there, and that's somewhat fallout from the Spider-Man No Way Home. So
Yep.
it's like Tom Holland's Spider-Man has connections and pops up in other stuff, but just his own movies, Sony is holding on to with dear life. So, but you can watch the Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, which I think is only a matter of time before we get the Tom Holland ones, considering both of those guys are in No Way Home. So.
Yeah.
So there is that, and that's really kind of it. It's been a little quiet, which is probably a good thing. We do have a new gold standard Patreon episode for Patreon supporters where we talk about the 1993 Jane Campion movie, The Piano. Yeah. It was an interesting discussion.
Yeah, or a bad yeah?
It's a bad yeah.
Oh.
At least in my mind. My only other basis of comparison for Jane Campion as a director is Power of the Dog, which obviously is a lot newer and a lot better. So I don't know if it was just she's become a better director as time goes by. This is
that is the hope, of any creative endeavor. You're like, well, I hope I get better at what I'm doing. So
yes,
so it's if you see something recently that someone's done and you're like, I like that one, then you watch an older one like, oh, not this one so much. Well, that might actually be like, hey, you have improved your craft. There you go.
So, but anyway, that's there in Patreon for those who want to listen to it. So, all right, feedback. We got some feedback from Shalane. I like her opener. First, who was right? They were going to do a remake of Super Mario Brothers. Me.
Now I will say I do like her terminology here because this is a remake done right. There was a franchise that they didn't do so well before, and this is a chance to do better, and they did much better. So all those studios looking to do remakes, reboots, whatever. If you can't do it better, then don't bother.
Yeah,
learn from this example, please. I'm asking nicely.
Yeah. So plus it's kind of funny that the live action Super Mario Bros. Came out in 1983 and the new Mario movie came out in 2023. I don't know if they planned that or if that's just the way things fell. We'll probably never know.
It was originally supposed to come out last fall, because I remember this because McDonald's had Super Mario movie tie-in toys from the Happy Meals.
Oh yeah.
And I guess the way they schedule stuff out, if a movie gets bumped back, then they can't change what they're gonna do, so they just went on schedule as they did. But we made sure and got all the toys for the kids, totally.
Yep, know how that goes.
Well, we went enough. The kids got their own, and I kept a Princess Peach for me, and it's fine.
Hey, that's absolutely A-okay.
Yeah. Now they put apple slices in the Happy Meal, so they're a little more little.
Anyway, I grew up with Mario and Donkey Kong. Me and my older siblings played on our Super Nintendo a lot, along with my cousin too. Did play a little bit of Legend of Zelda and Kingdom Hearts, even though Kingdom Hearts is done by Disney. Yeah. I remember when I was a kid, there was an animated series of Donkey Kong. I think it was on Cartoon Network. I vaguely remember the Donkey Kong cartoon. I have no idea what channel it was on.
It was. I remember watching it, and then years later, I went back to find him. Like, oh gosh, this animation is hideous. But it is of its time. But I was like, I don't remember it being this terrible. But it was something. We had a thing. Yeah, Donkey Kong the animated series existed, and it happened. Thing that happened.
My favorite characters are Yoshi, Diddy, Dixie, and Toad. So we're all very good choices. Now I'm going to calculate by keeping you girls on your tippy toes and list the animated movies that aren't done by Disney or Pixar. I saw the Disney and the Pixar and I just combined them together. Disney and Pixar.
If they ever fold Pixar into Disney animation, they can just call them Dixie.
Yeah.
I don't think they will, but we were talking about Dixie Kong, so there you go.
Yeah. Here are the studio DreamWorks: Shrek, How to Train Your Dragon, Madagascar, The Road to El Dorado, and Megamind. I've seen some of those. Fox Animation before the Disney deal: Ice Age, Horton Hears a Who, Anastasia, Fern Gully, Titan AE. Yeah, I was very confused for a second playing the Disney the emoji game on my phone. Yeah. And at one point the crazy squirrel from Ice Age was one of the emojis, and I'm like, really? He's not Disney. I was very confused. I was like, oh wait.
And then you're like, oh yeah.
Fox got bots. Yep. Sony, Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse, Hotel Transylvania, Swamp Princess, Warner Brothers, Animation, Quest for Camelot, Lego Movie. I hear they're going to do a remake of Cat in the Hat. Well, anything's better than the live-action Mike Myers version, I am sure. So,
did one and it was terrible. One that wasn't animated, but I don't know how I feel about that. There already is an animated Cat in the Hat, and it's wonderful. But whatever.
Yeah,
it's from like years and years ago, like when they did the Grinch.
Yeah,
that studio or those animators. Okay, continue.
Yep. Paramount Sonic. I still need to watch the sequel to Sonic.
You better do it.
You need to do it because now they're working on the spinoff. So
yeah.
Actively in production. Elimination, Despicable Me, Grinch, and now Mario. Anyway, I did love the new Mario movie. It was fun, and there were so many Easter eggs. Plus, Chris Pratt is a great voice actor after the Lego movie and Onward. Oh, I forgot about. He is also in when we were talking about him being a voiceover actor. I'm like, oh yeah, he did the Lego movie and Onward, and he's good in both of those.
Yeah, Onward is easy. Well, for most people, it's easy to forget. Not for me, because Alex loves it and watches it all the time. But it came out, it like had a week, and then the pandemic happened, and they had to put it on Disney Plus because no one was going to the theaters. So I feel bad because that one just did not get a fair shake in the theaters. But it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
And we talked about it, I believe.
Yes, we did.
And it was brand new.
Yeah. It's the same with Seth Rogen and Jack Black. So, and this is kind of like the live action movie. Yeah, like I said, there's a little bit of overlap as far as some plot points. So, I do want to go to Mario Land and Universal Studios one day. You and me both, sister. Maybe do a double trip to Florida again, like I did before Disney World and Universal Studios. You can do that.
Yes,
I've done it. Yeah, the nice thing about Universal is, as long as it's not stupid busy, at least back when I last went, you could do both parks in one day. Now with the addition of Nintendo, Nintendo World, that may be a little different. So
yeah, there's lots of people who go. Yeah, there are a lot of people that go down and like, we do Disney these chunk of days and do Universal this chunk of days, and woohoo.
Yeah. And that's the way we've always done it. Usually it's we go to Disney for so many days, then leave, go to Universal for a day, and then come back and finish out at Disney.
Is there SeaWorld down there too?
Yep.
Okay, I was like, I know there's another one.
Yeah, there's a SeaWorld. There's a Legoland.
Legoland's its own thing?
Yeah.
For some reason I think it's part of Universal, but apparently
no. Legoland is its own thing. SeaWorld has all the Sesame Street stuff. So for all you folks with little kids, you need to go to SeaWorld if you want Sesame Street. And
a lot of passes you gotta buy.
Yeah. And then Busch Gardens is in Tampa. I think. I don't think there's one in Central Florida. I could be wrong,
Yeah.
but
That
I can't do
sounds-
roller coasters like I used to, so
Well, I haven't been on a roller coaster since Space Mountain when we went on our honeymoon, but I hope I can still do roller coasters.
yeah. I mean, I can still do like the Disney coasters, but like
Mhm.
I can't. You're not seeing me going to like Cedar Point or something and doing all the big crazy coasters.
The
Not anymore.
big death-defying ones. And it's like, this one
Yeah.
has the biggest drop in all the universe. And you're like, okay.
She says I like both parks. And she says I don't think they compete with anything. Yeah, because I mean, people like to pit Disney and Universal against each other. Disney fans would be like, the other park that we do not talk about. But
I'm like, competition means that everybody wins because you guys have to impress everybody.
exactly.
And the more you do that, the more you do that, the better you get. At least that is the hope.
Exactly.
So,
Like, come on, show me what you got.
Bring out the big guns and you know,
Mhm.
I've got this money. Who wants it? I want to.
Yeah.
I want to go on vacation, and I want to have fun, and I want the most bang for my buck. So what do you
Yep.
got?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what she's kind of referring to with their
Yes.
little last line here, even though they're both expensive and kind of cheap. It just depends on what you consider value
Yeah.
for your dollar.
Exactly.
So I'm guessing this is you girls' first episode to talk about video games.
Is this?
Didn't we do a top 10 thing some years ago?
We might have done.
We
Not
also
that you-
dedicated an episode to Doctor Who Leg.
That
Back
is
in the
true.
day.
Doctor Who
R.I.P.
Legacy, which I
Mhm.
missed so much. I still have it on my iPad, but it's kind of not working as well as it used
Yeah.
to. Also, my iPad's getting old and clunky.
Yeah, I still have it, but it doesn't run because the iPad itself is just ancient. So
We missed that. That was
yeah.
such a.
Mhm.
Anyway.
Yeah. Have you thought about talking about Pokemon or do an episode
gosh.
of the best and the worst movies based on video games? I don't
If we
necessarily
tried to-
want to watch any of the other movies based on video games.
I don't know. Pokemon, if we wanted to do an episode dedicated to that, I mean, there's so many facets of it.
Well,
We would
so
have
that
to
there
do,
is
like-
with Mario, so
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's the video game, there's the trading card game, there's the anime, there's
Yeah, that's true.
movies, there's a
Mhm.
lot.
I mean,
there's
Nintendo
Pokemon Go,
did
has
start
its
as a
own
trading as a card company, so
Yes. Their thing was they do games like card games and stuff, and then video games started being a thing. So they're like, well, hey, let's dive into this, and the rest is history, as they
Yeah.
say. So, but yeah, Pokemon there's a lot to talk about, and it's all fun. It's a lot of fun, and it's a good time. There's a reason I still play Pokemon Go, even though a lot of people poo-poo it. But you know what?
When I can remember, I'm on it. I'm just horrible
Yeah.
at remembering to get on it.
Well, I run a Pokemon Go club at my library, and I just say, whoever plays, come. And I have posters up in the library, and sometimes I'll see these kids are like 10, 12 years old. They're like, Mom, can I go? And they get all excited about it. Then there's some that are like, Pokemon Go, people still play that. I'm like, well, clearly this is not a program that is for you. So,
Mhm.
okay, you don't have to come. No one's making you do it. But we have a good time. Do it once a month.
Let's see. So the only movies I've seen that are based on video games are Sonic, Mario, Tomb Raider, and it
Yep.
says, does Pokemon Pokemon count? Does Ready Player One
Yes.
count as one? Well,
Sure.
Ready Player One's not based on a video game. It just references a lot of video games.
Video games, yeah.
Yes.
But
I mean,
if Ready- if Ready-
Pokemon, yes and no, because I mean, Pokemon is in one version a video game, so I think so.
And like, let's see, Detective Pikachu was actually a game. It's a little more of a obscure game, but it was a game. And then
Yeah.
also the other movies are based on the anime, so I don't know. But if Ready Player One counts as a video game movie, then Wreck-It Ralph
Yes.
This is a video game movie.
Oh yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Big time.
So,
So I hear they are going to do a Donkey Kong movie and a sequel to Mario. Hopefully, we'll have more Diddy and Yoshi.
well, with the money they raked in, they would be stupid not to do a sequel.
Yeah.
And if you stayed for the end credit sequence of
Yes.
Mario movie, you kind of got a hint as to where they were headed.
Yep.
Yoshi, baby!
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was very excited for that.
Yes.
Spoilers, but we already talked about it last week. So.
Yeah.
I
If
mean,
you aren't
we got-
one of the billions of people who've seen it, well, sorry.
Yeah, considering it's number one in the box office for the third week in a row. So
Yeah. Like, if you wanted to see it, you have seen it by now, maybe more than once.
yeah.
And if you didn't care to see it, then you don't care.
Yeah.
But yes, Yoshi.
Mhm.
So the last thing, the Marvels looks fun. I can't wait. It's gonna be great with girl power. I'm gonna go back and rewatch Miss Marvel because I rewatched Loki season 1. Good idea.
Mhm.
This year should have some good animated movies like Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Disney/Pixar's Elemental, and Disney Wish. Yep. Which we haven't seen anything yet about
Not
Wish
really, no.
since they announced it, but it's not due till like Christmas or something, so we got some time. Elemental's a little sooner, so we should be seeing stuff. Yeah. That is Shalane's feedback, and then we got some feedback from Aaron, which is subject line was nothing's impossible, Mario. Improbable, unlikely, but never impossible. Hello, my Fiveish hosts. I grew up with Mario, playing a wide variety of games over the years. My favorites: Paper Mario, Mario Kart Double Dash, Mario Golf Toadstool Tour, Mario Maker, and Super Mario World. There's, like you said, there are so many Mario video games out there. It's crazy.
Yes.
So.
The Switch recently added an online the Nintendo 64 online, and I noticed they added Paper Mario, so I'm like,
Nice.
So I'm gonna try that one out because I like this looks like fun, and I've seen a few videos of it, and I'm like, I'm curious, and I already pay for the Nintendo online service, so I might as well get my money's worth.
Mhm.
But I like that they put up a bunch of retro games because
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and
Yes.
you know, and that's good considering, of the 5 games that Aaron just listed, that covers 4 different game console platforms. So you got a Nintendo 64, 2 GameCubes, a Switch, and a Super Nintendo. So
the Switch, it's nice because if you want to go back and play these games, you don't have to like search eBay for an old console if you don't have one, then find the game, and it's like
try to figure out how to hook it up to whatever TV you have.
Yeah, Jared has a GameCube that he bought there's some GameCube games he likes to play, and we can't hook it up to our TVs anymore because it don't have the right hookups. We got to get the adapter, which we haven't done yet, but it's like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they add GameCube to the roster at some point.
Aaron continues. Another thing I love, the original Super Mario Brothers movie. I was probably about 10 when I saw it on sale for $5, and I became the only person in history to ever say, wow, what a steal. My mother bought it for me, and over the years, I watched the heck out of it. Now, I realize it's a terrible movie. I'm not going to defend it, but it's without a doubt my favorite so bad it's good movie. The new movie, it was all right. The voice cast was fantastic, but it was basically the light humor I expected it to be. I'm hoping the inevitable sequel will be better. Take care, Aaron. Yeah, Chauncey asked me if I had seen the new movie, and I was like, yeah. And he's like, how is it? I'm like, it's exactly what you'd expect for something that's a cartoon that's supposed to be family friendly.
Yep.
It's pretty predictable, but it's really entertaining because the voice cast does really well.
Yeah. And and Aaron, I am right there with you. It's with the original Super Mario Brothers movie. It is a terrible movie, but there are some things I like about it. and I watch it as sort of a guilty pleasure when I'm in the mood, so I totally get it. And the new movie, I think, where Nintendo had one adaptation before and it backfired on them. They were like, let's just keep it simple. Let's just keep it, let's not do anything complicated, and it worked. So I think the simplicity of the plot was on purpose, just to be like, hey, how can we do this and can we make it work? And yeah, so maybe they'll go with a more complex story or different things, just as long as they don't go too crazy with it. Just because we've seen franchises, they start out simple, and then as they go on and add more characters and more plot lines. I'm thinking of Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire way back when, and we thought, you gotta add this, and this, and it became a mess. So as long as they don't get mired in the big mess, then it'll be fine.
Yep. So
we got a really solid movie out of them.
Yeah. And to circle back to Shalane's question about whether we've discussed video games before, Brittany dug up episode 87. Don't blow on the cartridge. So we did a quote unquote top 10.
Yes.
But that was episode 87. We're at 414. We tend,
that was 7 years ago.
I forget things.
So it was back April of 2016. So a little over 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like that long.
Yeah.
No, it really doesn't. It really doesn't. Yes, we have. So we did do our top 10. So maybe we're due for
a revisit
or some deep dives into some of our favorite video games. Yeah. We'll percolate on that. And see
yes.
But for now, we need to move on to this week's main topic, which is season 3 of everyone's favorite space-based sitcom of Daddy and Son.
And mommy and auntie and mean uncle.
Yeah. So Mandalorian season 3, which is only 8 episodes, but they packed a lot into those 8 episodes, because when we'd left off, Din Djarin had been essentially ostracized from the Mandalorians because he admitted that he had taken off his helmet in front of someone by choice, voluntarily. And he was told that the only way he could redeem himself was to go bathe in the living waters in Mandalore. But as far as everybody was concerned, Mandalore was they knew it had been just like the surface and everything on it had been destroyed thanks to the Empire. But as far as they were concerned, it wasn't even safe to land on. Like, the air was not going to be breathable, and who knows what else would make it extremely dangerous. But of course, Din Djarin being the by the book Mandalorian, for the most part, that he's like, dagnabbit, I'm gonna go and I'll bring back proof. We're like, okay, bye. But first, we gotta have a little bit of adventure, and that includes going back to Navarro and hanging out with Grief Karga and stopping some pirates, and trying to rebuild IG-11, which did not work. And IG-11 woke up immediately and was like, kill. So
he woke up and chose violence.
Yes.
Exactly. It woke up on the wrong side of the electric bed, let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that didn't go over too well. So, which I love the little the Anzellans though. When they first go and they're trying to fix IG-11, and Grogu is like playing with them, and they're like, no squeezy,
no squeezy, bad baby.
Yeah.
Oh, I felt sorry for the one who I think is Babu Frick.
Yeah.
And that was just like, no, not a toy.
Yeah.
He's just a baby. And the answer is like, I don't care if he's just a baby. No
Yeah.
squeezy.
No squeezy. Yep. Oh, so because Mando wants a droid to be able to take to the planet he can go put it on the planet first, have it scan, see what it's like, see if the atmosphere is breathable, that sort of thing. So he's like, okay, plan B. Well, first we're gonna stop by Bo-Katan's place and ask her if she wants to go, and she's like, no, I'm gonna sit here and mope because I lost a dark saber, I lost my people, I lost my crew. She was a little depressed. So then Din Djarin's like, okay, plan C, off to Tatooine to visit everyone's favorite mechanic / parts dealer, Telemeadow. Can't help him fix the IG-11, so instead she sells him R5D4, who apparently still has a bad motivator after all this time and doesn't really want to go to Mandalore. But goes anyway.
Uh-huh.
Kind of.
Yep.
But turns out Mandalore, the air is safe to breathe. It's not toxic, so at least that part is safe. So of course Mando and Grogu are like, in we go, and Mando immediately gets attacked by some weird creatures, and Grogu being Grogu, he's so smart. Is able to figure out how to. Well, we knew he kind of knows how to fly, spaceships, to a point. So he runs off to Bo-Katan, and
we need help.
It's like, help, So that's exactly what she does. So they head back off to Mandalore, and she saves Mando's butt.
Like, Daddy's in trouble
in several ways. First, she saves him from the weird creatures that captured him, and then when he goes and takes his dip in the living waters, he sinks right to the bottom, and she has to go after him.
Mando, where does it say on the Beskar that it's a flotation device?
Yeah. Or even that, this will not drop you like a lead balloon the minute that's...
Dude, you're lucky it didn't rust on you.
Yeah, well, I don't think Beskar is capable of rust. I would hope.
But knowing Mando's luck at this point in time, anything could happen.
True. That's true. So Bo-Katan has to dive in and save him, which she does, but in the process she spots something that's not supposed to exist because they're supposed to be extinct. A mythosaur.
This is like, okay, somebody's not been telling the truth. Somebody's been telling something from a certain point of view. And it ain't Obi-Wan.
Yeah. So they gotta take Mando back to where all the other Mandalorians are hanging out, including the armorer. So they go and do that, and then we cut to an episode that has nothing to do with the Mandalorian, at least not directly.
Right. And does that ever get wrapped up?
No, that whole thing with Dr.
thought.
Pershing and what actually happens to him and all of that. No.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
So it wasn't. Okay. Because for some oddball reason, it's like, did it get resolved and I just missed it, or that's still hanging out there?
Because this is part of what would have been one of the series that was announced however long ago it was and got put on the back burner.
Okay.
So they took part of one of the plots and kind of crammed it in, which it kind of takes it's a weird detour in the middle of this season, because we're getting all this history about Mandalore and the Great Purge and their history and the customs and all of this stuff, and we finally see a mythosaur and all these things. Then all of a sudden we're on Coruscant on this weird side plot with Dr. Pershing, which, I mean, Dr. Pershing obviously was important because that's who Mando saved Grogu from in the very beginning,
right,
all the way back in season 1, because Dr. Pershing is doing this work on cloning, which we all know cloning is very important if you're the Emperor and want to never die.
Examination.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, we did need to kind of come back to Dr. Pershing a little bit, but getting kind of like the what have they been doing with former Imperials in the New Republic, because obviously there are some Imperials that are like, screw the New Republic, I'm gonna just do what I want. And then you got that are acting like the Empire still exists. And then you've got some that are like, I've seen the error of my ways, I'm going to be a good person now, and are not for the New Republic. And then you got some people that be like, I'm going to join the New Republic and do something. Make a fresh start. And that's what Dr. Pershing is trying to do. Being stuck doing really desk work, which we saw a little bit of this in Andor.
It's the same thing.
Empire, New Republic, whatever you want to call it, it's still bureaucracy, and there's still people that are stuck at desks doing just boring like paperwork and data entry and stuff with computers. Stuff. So, I mean, it does amuse me somewhat when we do see the boring office bureaucratic side of the Empire.
Yep.
You think Empire, you think Darth Vader, and it's like all this badass evil stuff, and it's like, yeah, but at the end of the day, it's still a government and requires people to do paperwork.
and backstabby business as usual.
It's it's a thing that happens. But I just find it amusing, personally. So especially if you know your old technology, because the part of the computer that Dr. Pershing is using is an old Commodore 64.
I noticed that right away. I'm like, oh, I knew that. I played on that.
There's just something very amusing about the Empire / New Republic is using Commodore 64.
Top of the line technology, no credit was wasted.
It's like they have the ability to do interstellar space travel at it's beyond the speed of light, and cloning and all these other things, but they're using Commodore 64s for their computers.
Nothing but the best for our Imperial elite.
I guess so. Oh my. All right. I'm laughing so hard it's making my eyes water. Oh my. So yeah, it's like we get this whole thing with Pershing, and then he gets convinced that he should pick up where he left off with his cloning research on the DL, but ends up getting betrayed and then gets his brain wiped, his memory wiped, but then that gets sabotaged. So I don't know exactly. They left that. We don't know what's gonna, if that's gonna come back to bite somebody on the butt, because the obviously the cloning thing is kind of important because we know it's coming. So, but that doesn't mean that the New Republic didn't like seize his notes or whatever, and can't find someone else to do it or something. I don't know. That's a very loose thread that may or may not be picked back up in the next season or in something like maybe Ahsoka and or the from what I understand is we've got another season of The Mandalorian that supposedly is going to start production later this year, so it's not going to be a super long wait like before. And then obviously we got Ahsoka, and then Ahsoka will run somewhat parallel to what's happening in here timeline wise, but with the bringing in of Thrawn, a live action version of Thrawn, that eventually we're going to get a movie with, in theory, Mando and Grogu and Ahsoka, and some of our friends from Rebels that we saw are going to be in Ahsoka. Sabine and Chopper and Ezra and all that. And then we're supposed to get essentially a Thrawn movie. And the idea is Thrawn is supposed to be like the big threat. He's supposed to be like Thanos for Star Wars. Maybe something that they'll give us a little bit more, but still may not resolve completely until we get that movie, the Thrawn movie. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So, I mean, I love the science stuff though. Who knows? I don't know. All I know is what I've heard. From people who know more than me, because they read things. I drink but don't know things, and then other people apparently don't drink and do know things. Anyway, back to what we really care about, which is Mando and Grogu. And Grogu gets to start combat training.
Oh boy.
Which is so cute.
Mm-hmm.
So because he's like they're essentially playing paintball in close quarters,
Yep.
But
and of course the person he faces off against is Paz Vizsla's kid, who is Ragnar Vizsla, who is played by apparently Jimmy Kimmel's nephew. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, Jimmy called in a few favors, did he?
I guess.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess the kid's already got like a budding acting career, because he also played one of the young stand people in Book of Boba Fett. And so, but that still doesn't mean that maybe Jimmy Kimmel didn't, call in a few favors. Who knows? Funny enough, this episode with the combat training and then Ragnar Vizsla getting captured by that giant raptor thing and then them having to work together to save him. That episode was directed by Carl Weathers.
Nice.
Yep.
Grief Karga himself. So that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, this because Bo-Katan had to go into the water to save Mando. Technically, she bathed in the living waters as well, even though she never said any of like the words that like Mando was saying. So I guess that point doesn't count as long as they don't bring it up. I said the words in my head, and in my heart. That's all that really matters. Bo-Katan is now also considered redeemed because we know that she does not care about the whole helmet thing. In fact, she even has to, when they're, at one point when they have to take up camp in their process of trying to save this kid, and she's like, well, how do we eat? It's like you get your food and you go off at a distance and don't look at anybody else.
Separate rooms.
Yeah. Just separate and eat and keep your eyes to your plate, and that's it. So, and then as soon as you're done, put the helmet back on. So I did like, she's very practical though. She's like, well, how do you eat? But she shows just how good of a leader she actually is. This is Bo-Katan's opportunity to show these Mandalorians that she is still a good potential leader, despite the whole Darksaber thing. She loses one of her pauldrons in the process, so then the armor makes her a new one, but this time with the mythosaur. So she's got the night owl or whatever on one, and then she's got the mythosaur on the other, which was fun. And of course, friend of the show, Jen Markham, made sure to update her Bo-Katan cosplay as soon as possible, so that it matched. So then we get some more pirates. A even larger contingency of pirates shows up to Navarro and is like, sup, we're going to tear up this town because you were rude to one of our people, even though they didn't belong there. So, anyway, they're pirates, yeah. And not the fun kind, like Jack Sparrow. These are like pirates.
Oh, Hondo.
Yeah.
I
read something
later. Pirates.
Yeah, and the funny thing is like they were talking. I read something, and they were talking about the pirates and pirate kind of culture as we know it within the Star Wars universe. And they mentioned Hondo, and I'm like, no, Hondo is not in the same league. Hondo is a grifter who wants to be a pirate.
Yes.
No offense to Jim Cummings and our fabulous bumper that I'll probably use for this episode. But Hondo, if you've seen enough of Hondo in the cartoons, to know that he has the aspirations of being an amazing pirate, but none of the common sense that goes with it. So, he's not the brightest crayon in the bunch and is really more concerned about just making as much money as possible. But he does not necessarily think through.
He doesn't really have a plan.
No.
That's his plan.
No. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So
make stuff up as we go along, fly by the seat of our pants. Let's do.
Exactly. I mean, Hondo is closer to Jack Sparrow than like, you see that? Because I will not be doing it again.
Yep.
I mean, even Jack Sparrow admits it in one of the movies that he really just makes it up as he goes along. So, but in the process, we get the return of Carson Teva, the pilot, and starfighter pilot, and he in the we see him get the message from Grief Karga, and he's at like a bar or whatever where like, you know, the pilots hang out in the orange jumpsuits and stuff. And not John Favreau, the other one.
Filoni?
Yes, is in the bar. You see him. He's got his signature hat, his cowboy type hat that he loves to wear to everything. So you can't miss him. Which is funny because I actually did miss him. So now I need to go back and watch it.
Dang.
But
I got distracted by
but besides Dave Filoni in his cowboy hat, because we got this episode before we got the trailer for Ahsoka, so we actually get our first look at one of our rebels, a certain giant fuzzball who would actually probably grimace at him calling a fuzzball. But we get Zeb. So we get our first look at live action Zeb. So still voiced by Steve Bloom, who voiced him in Rebels. So that's really cool. But and then Carson Teva goes to Mando to ask for help, and again Bo-Katan takes the lead, and well, I mean, Mando asks for help, and of course she's like, absolutely. And so, but Bo-Katan, being the leader that she is, helps lead the mission, the attack force, and then of course they stop the pirates, which is good. And once again showing Bo-Katan just how good of a leader that she is. So and in a interesting twist, the armorer orders Bo-Katan to remove her helmet, and allows her to walk through the crowd of all the Mandalorians without her helmet on. And the armorer's justification is that since Bo-Katan has walked in both worlds as a strict Mandalorian and then outside the Mandalorian sphere, that she can be the bridge that helps bring the Mandalorians that are scattered all over the place back to them, and they can potentially take back Mandalore, their planet. So then we get the episode directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. Which means Grogu is especially cute.
And holy,
yes.
guest stars Mando.
Yeah, in this particular episode, along with apparently Bryce Dallas Howard, I'm assuming, calling up some friends of hers, which I'd seen the rumor about Christopher Lloyd. So I was still surprised because it was just a rumor. It wasn't anything confirmed. So I was still kind of surprised, but not that surprised when he shows up, which I love all the memes that have been coming out about Mandalorian, man in DeLorean. Since then. Pretty sure they go faster than 88 miles per hour in the Star Wars universe. And
that's actually Doc Brown, who
he's actually Doc Brown, and he's still time traveling.
I'll buy that.
Yeah. Oh, the fodder. But we get a couple of other guest stars in the form of Jack Black.
Yep.
Which, of course, why not? It's Star Wars. Let's have Jack Black and Lizzo
Yes.
Of all people. Which, I mean, she was great in this. I love Lizzo.
Yeah, she was awesome.
So they play this captain and duchess, or the leader of this planet, and where Axe Wolves and the other members of what was Bo-Katan's fleet have kind of taken up as their spot and have become like mercenaries for hire, instead of being proper Mandalorians. But before Mando and Bo-Katan can go speak to Axe Wolves, they have to help this planet with their malfunctioning droid problem. So
yeah.
So we could kind of like a kind of like a Law and Order type thing going on in this episode.
And Grogu has no sense of stranger danger whatsoever.
He's force sensitive. I'm sure he knows.
True. But Mando's like, yeah, he's not a people person, and then right into the Duchess's arms. Like,
yeah.
Right.
I mean,
munchies I need.
Yeah. Like, she's offering me snacks. She seems nice. My force senses aren't telling me any, this is wrong. Yeah, I'm gonna go over to her and snuggle and get some snackies. So Grogu gets to hang out with the royalty and get all the snacks, while Mando and Bo-Katan play cop to figure out why all these droids that were supposedly reprogrammed are all of a sudden essentially doing what IG-11 did when he got reactivated and went into murder mode and choose violence. And it turns out that's actually Christopher Lloyd behind it the entire time, which I can't say is really surprising.
Right.
You can have somebody like Christopher Lloyd in make a guest appearance and not have him be important to the plot. So, but there's some comedy in this particular episode, which is pretty cool. It's a nice bit of levity.
Yes.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so they figure it out that it's Christopher Lloyd that's doing it. And I almost felt like he was going to have a Scooby-Doo moment when they bring him to Jack Black and Lizzo. He's like, I would have got away with it too if it wasn't for those dang Mandalorians.
Yes.
And then somebody winds up getting knighted.
Mm-hmm. And then Grogu gets knighted. Which is adorable.
But that symbol's about as big as he is.
Yeah. It's like he's already gotten his first bit. He's already gotten his next bit of Mandalorian armor, because he got the chainmail, and now he got the little medallion thing from the armorer, and now he's got this knight title. So he's just racking up all like the toys and titles and stuff before he can even string two words together. So
Right.
Good for him.
Hopefully they're paying him in chalky milk and chicky nuggies, but we don't know.
Well, or in his case, probably froggy nuggies.
Froggy nuggies, yes. And blue cookies.
Yeah, and blue cookies. But Bo-Katan, eventually she's face to face with her old crew, who's like, what? Why we want to come back to you? We're making good money here, being, privateers essentially. And of course, Wolves is all like, so then they fight. She beats him, and then Mando finds a really good loophole or gray area, kind of in the same vein as the Elder Wand in Harry Potter.
Yeah, exactly what I was thinking too.
That's exactly what I thought, where he had the Darksaber, but then when he went to Mandalore and went into the mines, he got attacked.
Yep.
and he lost the Darksaber. It was taken from him by one of those creature things. And then when Bo-Katan showed up, she got the Darksaber from the thing that had captured him and killed it, and you know, she killed it, but she didn't have to kill it. That's the thing. It's kind of like, again, with the Elder One, you don't have to kill the person who had it before you. That was Voldemort's mistake, and that's why Severus Snape is now dead. Because Snape did not have to die. All it matters is that it changes hands in combat. So in this case, technically, Bo-Katan got the Darksaber from the being that had taken it from Mando, and therefore she is now the rightful wielder of the Darksaber, which apparently everybody's like, yeah, that tracks. That makes perfect sense. We'll go with that. So then the last 2 episodes we finally see Moff Gideon again, and we get more of his weird, machinations. With this, one of the videos I was watching, someone equated Moff Gideon when Mando and Grogu destroyed the tanks that all of his clones are in. The equivalent of a kid getting mad because someone opened up his toys or destroyed his toys before he got a chance to play with them. Like, I had those were my action figures. I was gonna play with them, and now you've destroyed them.
It tracks.
Apparently Moff Gideon is like a Mandalorian like fanboy, but because he's Imperial, as much as he wants to be like a Mandalorian, because apparently he thinks they're just like badass, he decides that he's gonna make his own awesome Mandalorian-esque troopers. So eventually when he hears that the clans that have been like enemies for ages are actually actively working together, he realizes that they're probably going to go and try and reclaim Mandalore. So then he's all like, okay, well, I'm gonna take my stormtroopers that now have badass Beskar armor, and I'm gonna take my awesome Dark Trooper armor that I've upgraded with Beskar, and we're gonna go and lay it down in Mandalore. And that's exactly what had happened. But before, we gotta have a whole bunch of uppity Imperial New Republic folks yak and give us more plot stuff. Because we have Captain Pelion, who is supposed to be like Thrawn's like right-hand man.
Yes, that is.
Yeah, so he's the one that's like, no, Thrawn's coming back, and everybody else, including Moff Gideon, is like, I don't see him. You keep saying Thrawn's gonna show up. I'm not seeing him anywhere, and we're all like, well, that's because he's gonna be over in Ahsoka instead.
The man's busy.
Yeah. Yeah. But like,
Thrawn knows how to delegate. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. And then you've got Brendel Hux, who is Hux's father, but is played by Domhnall Gleeson's brother. Which is I mean, if you need somebody that looks like they're related, I guess that works best as anything. I thought that was kind of funny though. So, but hey, whatever works. But yeah, that's Brian Gleeson, who is Domhnall Gleeson's brother, but he's playing Domhnall Gleeson's character's father from The Force Awakens and all that. So the Disney trilogy. So yeah, so we have this awesome throwdown on Mandalore, which is it's really cool. We get stuff with the flag, the Mandalorian flagship. And we got some TIE squadrons and all sorts of stuff. We got essentially all of the Mandalorians fighting with, while on once they get back to the surface, they're able to use like their jetpacks and stuff. It's really cool. It's a really cool kind of fight sequence. We got big group stuff, big explosions. Michael Bay would be proud, I'm sure. But then we get some close quarter stuff. Like we get a fight between Bo-Katan and Moff Gideon. Okay, again, it's a loose thread for now, but Moff Gideon like had the Darksaber and really wants the Darksaber back. And then when he's finally face to face with Bo-Katan and she's fighting him with it, he's got his hands on it. What does he do? He crushes it instead of trying to take it from her. So he's like, well, if I can't have it, nobody can have it. So I'm just going to break this into a million little pieces. Like, really? After all this, you're just going to crush it like a Coke can? Okay, I guess. But one of the videos that I was watching, they mentioned the fact that in Ahsoka, as we mentioned when they gave us the Ahsoka trailer and all that, that the droid that David Tennant is coming back to voice was a droid that belonged to the Jedi, and in his memory banks contains how to construct every lightsaber ever.
Yeah, because he was the one that, if I remember right, was with the younglings. They weren't Padawans yet, and he was teaching them how to make the lightsabers. So that makes sense that he would have the information of all the ones that have been made.
Will they remake the Darksaber? I don't know. Maybe make something else instead for Bo-Katan to fight with. I mean, and then eventually Grogu is going to need a lightsaber. So, but I'd totally forgotten that. So that was like, oh, that's probably going to come in handy down the line having that. So, and we get a cool tag team up with Mando and Grogu. Grogu saves Mando's butt because they couldn't get the IG-11 to work again. So instead they hollowed out the center and made it so that Grogu could sit inside of it and kind of puppet it and also somewhat communicate. There's a yes and a no button, which Grogu took advantage of a lot, which is quite funny. So, but we get a nice little team up because Mando realizes that he's better with Grogu with him as opposed to like trying to send the kid off to keep him safe, which is so cliche. He's like, no, kid, we're gonna do this. It's gonna get messy, but we're gonna do this. And Grogu is like, absolutely, I got you. That it's really cool because I mean both Mando and Grogu kick some stormtrooper butt. They destroy Moff Gideon's collection of clones. At least those that we know that we saw there. That doesn't mean that he didn't have a clone, if not more, stashed elsewhere.
Knowing him, that wouldn't be too shocking, honestly.
We see Grogu use the Force. He has a kind of a mini Yoda versus Count Dooku moment, where Yoda is all like flipping all over the place and being really badass, and like, yeah. Grogu kind of has that moment, but he's he obviously doesn't know the ways of the Force as well as Yoda, but he did with what he does know, which is jumping and flipping, and being able to move things with the Force. Like, oh, you're like that. Oh, look, a blaster that a stormtrooper is about to reach. Nope. Sorry, you're not getting that. And they're creating a really cool force field, a little bubble to protect him and Mando and Bo-Katan from fire when the entire base gets blown up. And in theory, Moff Gideon gets blown up also, but just like with comic books, until you see a body, and even then, that doesn't mean they're dead. So I don't think I don't believe that he is dead by any means.
We've seen other Star Wars characters come back from wars.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, and I've seen some theories that because we even see when Moff Gideon's having that conversation with this, quote unquote shadow council, that the rest of them, those council members, Hux and whatever, those other people have like their own plans. Like obviously Moff Gideon, he was interested in the cloning, but only for himself, because he wants to be able to use the Force, and he's again pissed that he can't get. He's not a Mandalorian. He's not a Jedi. He's just a regular run of the mill human being, and he hates that. So he's like, I'm gonna make me some clones that are Force sensitive, and that's why he's concerned about like being able to do the cloning. Meanwhile, you've got Hux and these other dudes, and in theory Thrawn, that are concerned about the cloning because they want to be able to bring back the Emperor. Supposedly, at least that's what we're assuming. Although we're still quite a bit away from the timeline of the Force Awakens, and that with Snoke, who is really just a defective Emperor Palpatine clone that didn't quite take properly,
right?
And with the Rey and all the stuff that we get in the Force Awakens, we're still a bit a ways from that timeline wise. So it's still got to fill us in. But anyway, the point is, Moff Gideon's doing his own thing. Everyone else is on their page, and we even hear him say, he's like, I don't care about your plans for Project Necromancer and all those things. He's obviously saying, I've got my own plans, and y'all can suck it. Is really what he's saying. And eventually that's going to come, supposedly the theory is that that's going to come around to bite him in the ass, because Thrawn is going to consider that him usurping him, and that Thrawn is going to be the one to actually properly kill Moff Gideon. We'll see.
Yeah.
If that actually, but either way, I don't think we've seen the end of Moff Gideon. That version, maybe we might have seen the last of, but I think he probably had at least one other clone probably stashed away somewhere, because you know how it is when you have something valuable, you don't put it all in one place.
No,
it's not smart. You got to diversify your investments in case something happens. So I'd imagine that Moff Gideon took a similar approach with his clones, and when we see him again, it'll probably be a clone. Now, whether that clone will actually be Force sensitive, TBD. Whether they got that far in the scientific process, because again, we don't know exactly what's happened to Dr. Pershing, and that may play into it as well. But you don't hire someone like Giancarlo Esposito, and he's not really had that much screen time, and suddenly kill him off like that. It does not make sense. Of course, people thought the same way when they hired Sean Bean for Game of Thrones, and we saw how that went. So who knows?
Yep.
Yeah. So they stopped Moff Gideon, at least in his forces, at least at this point, and now they're going to rebuild Mandalore. They fire the Great Forge back up. They've got some people that actually survived the purge have been living essentially underground and have figured out how to cultivate some of the plants that were native to Mandalore. So they've been able to figure out how to do farming and stuff. So in theory, Mandalore as a planet can be rebuilt and be thriving again. It's going to take a lot of work and a lot of time, but it is potentially possible. Not that Mando and Grogu are going to stick around, because Mando has now decided to take on Grogu officially as his apprentice. But the only way he can do that, because a parental or guardian, parent or guardian, has to say, yes, I'm going to allow my child to be tied to this person as their apprentice. And so Mando is like, well, I'll adopt him officially. And then we're all like, yay, it's official on paper. Even though everyone around him, like Bo-Katan and the Armorer, when talking to Grogu, refer to Mando as his father. So
everybody else could see it except for Mando.
Yeah. Bo-Katan is like, what? You thought your dad was the only Mandalorian? So it's like everyone else has been referring to them as a father and son combination there. So, but that means that now Grogu has to go on adventures and learn how to be a proper Mandalorian. So they take up residence in a cabin on the outskirts of Navarro, a gift from Grief Karga as a thank you for helping every time Navarro has come under siege. How many times has Navarro been attacked since this whole thing started?
At least both hands, maybe the start of 1 foot. I don't know.
Yeah. Funnily enough, their cabin is in Bullock Canyon, which, if you know your Star Wars actors, you know Jeremy Bullock was the OG Boba Fett. So yeah.
And that ending with Grogu just floating that froggy.
Yeah. Hey, he's hanging out in the front in the yard, just playing with the frogs, and Mando's just chilling on a chair, like taking a breather. It's so domestic. It's not something you would expect from Mando. But at the same time, it's like, oh, there were several times where I got emotional during the finale. I'm like, oh,
same here. And I will take the ending because I know the crap's about ready to hit the fan for the next season.
Because, like I said, Ahsoka is going to somewhat run parallel to this. So wherever Ahsoka ends is gonna probably give us an idea of where the next season of The Mandalorian is gonna go. So because it's all leading to Thrawn is the thing. Yep. Ahsoka, Mando, all the Mandalorians, Grogu, any other Jedi that might, the other Jedi, Ezra, you got Sabine, you've got all these people, characters, and it's all on a fast track. They're all on the same path that eventually is going to converge and meet face to face with Thrawn. So, but in the meantime, we're still going to get some more. We'll get some more of Grogu's backstory. We got a nice, nice. It's Order 66. It's not that nice, but we do get a flashback. Of more of Grogu's experience during Order 66, and we see how he got out and to safety off of out of the Jedi Temple, and it's by Jedi Master Kelleran Beck, who was created for a kids Star Wars game show that I guess was a thing during the pandemic, because it said 2020. So I'm assuming this is probably something they did maybe as a thing for the pandemic, maybe for kids to watch, or something. I don't know. I never heard it. The Jedi Temple Challenge. But anyway, Master Keller and Beck is played by Ahmed Best.
Uh-huh.
If you don't know the name, you sure know who he's played in Star Wars before. That would be everyone's favorite Jar Jar Binks.
Yes.
Yep.
No
So,
little bitchy accident this time.
In a weird roundabout kind of way, Jedi Master Jar Jar Binks kind of confirmed.
Yep.
Most of us were betting on Sith Lord, but okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that was really cool when I realized who that was, because if you know anything about Ahmed's story and what happened to him after the prequels and just how like seemingly universally hated Jar Jar Binks was and how he took that personally and really screwed him up mentally. I believe up to the point where he tried to unalive himself at one point, or at least thought about it. So he got in a really bad place, but was eventually able to obviously, get out of it. And now he's kind of getting, redemption, in a way, and getting a second chance by playing this character, which I think is cool. So I never had a problem with Jar Jar Binks.
I didn't either.
So, and I was not going to hate on the actor either. That's he's just doing what he was hired to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's mostly, I guess, people found him annoying.
Yeah.
But it's like, how many annoying characters are there in movies that you're just kind of like, it's annoying, and you just, there it is. That's it.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, hopefully, knock on wood, this time around, he's getting a much better reception. That's not, going to do him any harm, I hope. So, but yeah, I thought that was cool. So
I definitely would want to see more of his character, though.
Yes.
I was kind of afraid of like, okay, what happened to him to have Grogu not in his care anymore?
Yeah, because we just see they are able to get off planet, but what happens to that, we still don't know. So, but again, I think that's more that we'll get in probably season 4. So that whole bit with Dr. Pershing smack dab in the middle of it was a bit weird, but because we know what's coming, Project Necromancer and Thrawn and everything, I could kind of forgive it, because they need to give us that some of those things so that when we get Ahsoka in a couple months, we're not so like, wait, what is Thrawn? Because Thrawn is like, he's bad news, to put it mildly.
Yes.
He is really, really, really bad news. And he has it out pretty much for anybody that can use the Force. So, not only does Ahsoka need to watch her back, but so does certain Mr. Skywalker, who has his own school full of Force sensitive students that hopefully he can keep that location on the DL away from Thrawn. But yeah, I'm really interested to see what Ahsoka is doing during the same time period, and kind of see like the other side of it, because I'm assuming we're going to see like Hux and so it's probably some more of the guys on the Dark Council on their side who were all like, yay, Thrawn. And once Thrawn actually shows up, and then they're gonna be like, look, see, I told you he was coming, and see what happens. So but
you were telling me that blue skinned man was a myth. Well, guess what, you were mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, from what it sounds like, we're kind of in this spot where it's like we're almost to like, if you were equating it to the MCU, like we're getting closer to like, Infinity War, but we're not quite there yet. We still got some more chess pieces that need to be put into play, but almost there. And that's exciting. It's very exciting. So I'm here for it. I love The Mandalorian, even when it's like not necessarily the best. I mean, I enjoyed the other shows too. As much as I was like, I don't understand Andor. I still enjoyed it because it was entertaining. And it had some real, interesting stuff in it. And I like the cartoons. As well, and I'm looking forward to Ahsoka. But there's just something about when Disney did their trilogy, the Force Awakens trilogy, essentially. I'd never really been a huge Star Wars fan. My brother was the huge Star Wars fan when we were kids. I just watched it because that's what you do at some point in your life. Unless you're Steve Rogers and you've been under ice. It's like the one person in the entire universe that does not know that Darth Vader is Luke's father. So when I went and saw The Force Awakens and then the other two, and I got a little excited. Let BB-8, he's a little precious cinnamon roll. Porgs are awesome. I still find it weird that Ben Solo is played by somebody who went to high school with one of my husband's friends. Is from raised in the exact same area that my husband grew up. Is really weird. But whatever. Everybody's got to come from somewhere, even Adam Driver. But I've never really been like, a huge Star Wars fan until The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian is what tipped me over into being a much bigger Star Wars fan. I'm sitting here wearing my Mandalorian sweatshirt that I bought that was released in the Disney stores during the first season. So it tells you how long I've had this sweatshirt. Cool. It's a really nice sweatshirt too. It's super thick, and really comfy. But it's got the Mythosaur logo in the front, and it says Mandalorian Bounty Hunters on it, so it's really cool. I love this series, and I know it can't last forever, but I'm enjoying the heck out of it, and not just because Grogu is adorable, although that does help.
Yes, it does.
A lot. That does help. Yeah, it may be a bit cliche. Like, of course, look, it's the girl. She's veering towards like the cute creature, but he's also really cool. I mean, it's really cool. It's really cool to be learning about these like the Mandalorian culture, and all of that, something that we've never really gotten before, at least in the stuff you can watch. Obviously there's a lot of stuff in the expanded universe, but not all that's canon. And then learning about Grogu and the species, because all we really know is Yoda and Yaddle a little bit. So and from what I understand, once Grogu is able to speak the common tongue, what we would consider English, is he will speak the common tongue. Yoda spoke the way he did because his Jedi Master spoke that way. So he spoke in that weird order as an homage to the Jedi Master who trained him. So, because apparently Yaddle spoke the common tongue. So more than likely Grogu, especially hanging around Mando and everyone else who speaks the common tongue, it just makes sense. I wonder what Grogu's first words are going to be. It seems like he was trying there towards the end.
Yes. There was
as we've gotten more further into it, he's doing more and more cooing, and it seems like he's trying to make words, but he's just not quite there yet.
A lot of people are saying that the scene when Grogu, Din, and Bo-Katan were leaving after escaping Mandalore the first time, and Mando was saying, "This is the way," and so did Bo, and Grogu was queuing after that, and people were saying that he was trying to say that.
Yeah. Which, if you think about it, when it comes to Grogu, odds are his first words are either going to be something food related, or it's going to be "This is the way."
Yeah.
They'll figure it out.
Yep. I love the yes no button.
Poor Mando. It's like welcome to parenthood.
Yeah.
Once they learn how to move freely on their own and speak and can grab things, you're screwed.
Pretty much.
When they're just a little blob that just kind of hangs out, you're fine. Yeah, they may poop their pants every now and then. It's a little gross, but they may spit up. But they're self-contained. It's when they're mobile and can speak, and it's when you're in trouble. So.
Just the reaction look off of his helmet when Grogu punches the no button for the first time. It's like,
oh my god, yes.
No.
Yeah. He's like stealing the fruit from that poor vendor, and he's like, "I want it."
Yes. We can't
and
do
it's
that.
Like, you don't take stuff that's not yours.
Why not? I want.
It's so weird. Oh. Mando, you are in for a ride. As if you haven't already been on one already, but
yeah. Right? Thank goodness Grogu is cute.
Anyone have anything else?
No. What do we think of apparently assuming Mando's name wrong? Because when he almost like basically giving Grogu his new name, it was Din Grogu.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a very formal thing, which is tracks for the Mandalorians. I can't imagine outside of probably formal Mandalorian related things that they'll refer to him as Din Grogu. They'll probably still just call him Grogu.
Probably. Because it's his given name, it seems to be.
Yeah. But adding the Din, because then that shows that he is of Din Djarin. So short of putting a sticker on him that says, "My dad is a Mandalorian, you better watch out."
Right, yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. And he's teaching me things.
Yeah. You hurt me, prepare for a world of hurt.
Exactly. So I mean, it's cute. It is very formal, but that's just the way the Mandalorians roll. So I can see why Bo-Katan has it's obviously now that she's come back into it and is the proper leader, and they're reestablishing Mandalore as their home planet, that she's showing a bit more respect for the culture that she comes from. Yeah. But obviously with the stuff that happened with the Great Purge and everything, I mean, her father lost his life because of the Purge, she lost her sister. So I could see why she went a little, she rebelled a little, like not caring about the whole helmet thing and following all of the traditions. So I don't think she'll necessarily be as uber traditional as some of the others. Like obviously the armorer, although asking Bo-Katan to remove her helmet, I think shows that the armorer realizes that, if we reestablish Mandalore, we probably need to modernize a little.
Mm-hmm.
And figure out how to,
we can tweak some of the rules.
Tweak some things, and figure out, how to continue to have Mandalore have the respect and everything that it's earned, but not be so mired in tradition that if those that maybe want to carve their own path of what being a Mandalorian means, it's not the end of the world. Because that I partially from what I know is that at least in a percentage, that's part of the reason why Mandalore kept falling even before the Great Purge, is the clans and stuff were just constantly butting heads because they could not agree, because one group thought that they should do things one way and then the other group think they should do things another way, and that just caused nothing but trouble. So being a bit more flexible this time around is going to be what makes Mandalore strong and hopefully last for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Yep.
In the meantime, any of our listeners have thoughts on Mandalorian or anything else we've covered in this episode and want to share those thoughts with us, and we'll read them out on the podcast, you can send us feedback at fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. And you can also visit our website, which is thefivishfangirls.com, and that has links to all of our social media, has the show notes, you can comments, and we'll treat those as feedback as well. You can also find wherever you download podcasts, that's where we are. Listen to us, and you can also help support the podcast through our Patreon or our merch shop, and again, links to it on our website. And as always, we thank you for listening.
Mm-hmm. And I posted on our Facebook. I also need to post it on
thank you for your
our other social,
for your comments, interactions, and
I was gonna say, obviously if you want to support the show, we have those links, but we also now have on the website links for our business account, I guess is a proper term, on Amazon. We have some Amazon wish lists for the non-for-profit related stuff. We do have some confirmed events that I will be at least this summer, that will involve me manning a table, so it'd be really easy to find me to come talk about things. But it's like to be a bit more than just a table with a tablecloth and a stack of business cards. So there's some Amazon wish list with some stuff on there that if you're inclined, we'd really appreciate if you want to make a purchase on our behalf. That would be awesome, because we are a small non-for-profit, and that means our budget is teeny tiny. As we try to grow, we're very fortunate to receive some donations. But again, it's important work. We're very excited about it, but unfortunately, some of it does require money, which we don't have a lot of. So the podcast is fine. Anything that any money you send our way, either by buying merch or Patreon, really, it does help. It helps with us being able to have the show hosted somewhere. But the nonprofit could really start using some financial support too. So again, don't spend money you don't have.
But if you can, help.
So, but it's all can be found on the website. So it's very distinct. Podcast, nonprofit. So
so check us out and see who's going on. And again, thank you for your support, your listening, your feedback, your reviews, comments, all that good stuff. And we, of course, hope you guys are all doing well, whatever you're doing. And take care.
Wrap up this episode and actually this month. The last episode of this month.
Hard to believe.
So let's sign off.
This is Ava. Saying goodnight.
Christy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Yes, 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 yes. No squeezy. Thank you for listening to the Fiveish Fangirls. Please visit thefivishfangirls.com for details on how to further support the show, along with information on our nonprofit, Fangirls Give Back. We love our Fiveish fam and appreciate all of your feedback, shares, and encouragement. Remember to keep letting your geek flag fly.